In a world of wealth and betrayal, one waitress is about to turn the tables. When Mia discovers her millionaire boyfriend Daniel's infidelity, a fiery determination ignites within her. This quest for revenge will not only expose Daniel's deceit, but will unravel a web of hidden scandals among the elite. How far will Mia go to reclaim her power? Mia maneuvered through the sprawling ballroom, her black dress blending seamlessly with the shadows as she catered to the upscale crowd. The glimmering chandeliers cast soft light on the polished marble floor, reflecting the wealth and privilege that surrounded her. Each platter she carried felt heavier, not just with food, but with the weight of her unacknowledged struggles. Here, among the laughter and clinking glasses, she became an invisible ghost, observing the lives of the elite while concealing her own heartache. As she weaved between tables, snippets of conversations drifted into her ears, a sharp contrast to the modest lifestyle she knew. "Another yacht in the Mediterranean," one woman gushed, her laughter ringing like a silver bell. A man beside her nodded knowingly. Of course, this time with complimentary helipads. Their worlds felt worlds apart, and for a moment, Mia's mind wandered to the modest apartment that held her dreams that felt ever more distant in the presence of such extravagance. But it was the laughter that shattered her daydreams. Pushing open the door to a private room while carrying drinks, Mia froze at the sight before her. There, in the warm glow of soft light, stood Daniel, her boyfriend, his arm draped casually around another woman. They were enveloped in laughter, their intimacy like a knife twisting in her gut. The world around Mia grew silent, her heart pounding in her ears as shock washed over her. This was the man she thought loved her, now reduced to a mere player in a game she had no part in. Anger bubbled beneath her despair, clashing with her heart's desperate need for reassurance. With every chuckle that slipped from Daniel's lips, the realization of his betrayal struck her deeper than any words ever could. In that moment, the pain ignited something within her, a transformation spurred by the sting of disloyalty. As she leaned against the wall, fighting back tears, she could almost feel the shackles of inadequacy start to tremble. Suddenly, reclaiming her narrative became not just a desire, but a burning necessity. Would she allow this moment to define her? Or would she turn it into a catalyst for revenge? Mia's thoughts raced, mapping plans amidst the chaos of her emotions. The thought of retaliating against Daniel's duplicity began crystallizing into a singular purpose. Yet, the struggle continued, each flicker of determination battling the shadows of doubt creeping in. Still, she couldn't suppress that ember of fury within her, urging her to take back control over her life. Just as she steeled herself, contemplating her next move, an unexpected figure appeared at the edge of the room, Emma, a former employee of Daniel's. Their eyes locked, and Mia felt an electric charge pass between them, igniting hope mixed with intrigue. Emma approached her, her expression a mixture of concern and curiosity. "Mia," she whispered, glancing back at the festivities. "You might not want to be here right now. I've got some information. Things aren't what they seem with Daniel." But in that moment, Mia knew she stood on the brink of a profound shift. The layers of deception she had once respected began to peel away, revealing alliances and hidden truths that could fuel her fire for retribution. What strategic move would Mia make next to expose the truth? The question loomed, tethering her to her purpose as the dance of betrayal continued just outside her reach. Mia stood behind the counter at the diner, her hands moving automatically as she poured coffee and served breakfast to bleary-eyed patrons. Yet, within her heart, a tempest raged. The clatter of dishes and the hum of friendly banter around her felt distant, almost muffled, like a hollow echo of a world she no longer completely belonged to Memories of Daniel's betrayal cut through her routine like a knife, leaving her both heavy with grief and charged with restless energy. The weight of her thoughts pressed against her chest. She could feel the simmering rage coiling tightly, battling against the sorrow. Each time she looked up, seeking solace among familiar faces, she recalled the warmth of his smile, which had now morphed into a cruel reminder of her naivety. What was once love had turned into a deep wound, one that pushed her toward uncovering the truth. A flicker of purpose ignited within her, urging her to flip the script. The betrayal, once a shattering loss, began to reshape itself into something raw and powerful, a call to action. With each shift in her daily routine, Mia's eyes attuned to the subtleties in Daniel's personality that had once made her feel safe. She was no longer swept away by his charm, but scrutinized every word, every laugh that had danced off his lips. Misplaced confidence barely masked the cracks in his stories whenever they conversed, little inconsistencies she had overlooked in the haze of affection. Reviewing their past exchanges replayed like a relentless film in her mind, each scene leading her deeper into a narrative she now realized should have raised her suspicions long ago. It wasn't just betrayal that stirred her heart, it was a burgeoning sense of responsibility. What started as heartbreak morphed into a need for a moral reckoning. As her resolve grew, so did the meticulous collection of evidence in her mind. Slips in Daniel's confidence when discussing his clients, shifts in his tone when speaking of investments. The more she observed, the more his polished exterior cracked, revealing traces of greed and unethical business practices. "Did anyone hear about that restaurant he's backing?" a customer mentioned casually one day. "Word is his investments are more than they appear." Mia's heart raced. She leaned closer, pretending to wipe a spot on the counter. "What do you mean?" Her mind whirred, sifting through her own memories while eagerly collecting the threads of gossip swirling around her like autumn leaves. Daniel's name was whispered in the same breath as scandal, a defining shift that transformed her perception. She felt a dark thrill race through her as she interacted with customers, each conversation layering more depth, more implications to Daniel's machinations. This hunt fueled her. With each note of discontent she gathered, her heart coursed with determination. She could no longer view Daniel simply as her ex-lover. He had become the embodiment of everything wrong. As the line between personal grief and professional intrigue blurred, she pushed backward, distancing herself from the betrayal's hurt and grounding herself in the righteousness of the pursuit. Yet, with every revelation, an unsettling reminder loomed just out of reach. She was stepping onto a dangerous path. It was exhilarating and terrifying, a delicate balance of morality and revenge that threatened to unravel with a single misstep. With a deep breath, she steeled herself, sinking into the investigator's mind that demanded she continue digging deeper. Later that afternoon, a late-night conversation with another patron stirred something deeper within her. "You know, Daniel's involved in some shady money moves with that new hotel venture." The man leaned in conspiratorially. "I've heard whispers of money laundering tied to his name." A chill washed over Mia, each chill resonating with her relentless curiosity, nudging her closer to the truth she hungered to uncover. Was her grief clouding her judgment, or could this be the catalyst for something much darker? The world near her shrank to the size of a single truth, one she was determined to unearth. As she left her shift, a vital piece of information weighed heavily in her mind, pushing her ever closer to action. What critical evidence would she uncover next? Each step forward throbbed with suspense, fanning the flames of her determination to reveal what lay behind Daniel's facade. Mia's heart raced as she entered the dimly lit cafe, the air thick with the scent of brewing coffee and hushed conversations. She scanned the room, searching for Emma, a fellow waitress who had crossed her path more than once over the years. In this moment, with her resolve crystallizing, she desperately needed someone who understood her struggle. Seated at a corner table, Emma raised her hand, a mix of curiosity and concern etching her features. As Mia approached, she noticed the slight tremor in Emma's fingertips. It awakened a deeper connection between them, a silent acknowledgement of shared burdens. "Mia, is everything okay?" Emma asked, her voice low but steady. She had always been the supportive type, a contrast to the undercurrent of tension brewing within Mia. "No, not really," Mia confessed, taking a seat across from her. "I need to talk about Daniel. I think I have a plan, but I can't do it alone." Emma's eyes widened, reflecting a flicker of recognition mingled with trepidation. "Daniel, you mean that millionaire guy?" "Yeah, the one who thinks he can get away with anything." The bitterness seeped into Mia's tone, sparking anger within her that she couldn't ignore. "He's used and abused so many people in his life. I want to expose him, and I think you'd want in too." Emma hesitated. "What can I do? I'm just a waitress like you." But the uncertainty in her voice soon gave way to compassion. "Wait, did he do something to you?" Mia felt the weight of her betrayal rush through her, a pounding in her chest echoing the grievances of countless others. "He cheated on me, but it's more than that. His entire empire is built on deceit. I've heard whispers about his shady dealings, and I want you to help me dig deeper. You work there. You must have seen something." A flicker danced across Emma's expression. Recognition. "I've seen things, all right. I've overheard conversations that made my skin crawl. The way his management treats the staff, it's exploitative. You're right to want to put an end to it." A shared fury ignited their bond, the foundation for a pact forged in injustice. "Then let's do this together," Mia urged, hope mingling with adrenaline as she locked eyes with Emma. "We can gather evidence, create a timeline of his wrongdoings." The gravity of their mission settled in, the psychological tension enveloping Mia as she wrestled with her emotional turmoil. "Are you sure you're ready for this?" Emma asked, concern flickering in her eyes, a reminder of the risks they were about to take. Mia took a deep breath, steel encasing her heart. "We can't let fear hold us back. Think about all the lives he's ruined. We owe it to ourselves to seek justice." Emma nodded, resolve aligning with Mia's, yet a shadow of hesitation lingered on her face. "Just promise me we'll be careful. There are dangerous people involved." As the two women plotted their next steps, Emma divulged morsels of insider knowledge, detailing corporate malfeasance that only fueled Mia's determination. Daniel's corrupted empire didn't just exploit the unsuspecting, it thrived on their pain. With every piece of information, Mia felt her purpose solidify, but the weight of vengeance loomed heavy on her soul. "Okay, so we need to get our hands on some documents. Maybe even a recording," Mia suggested, excitement and anxiety coursing through her. "If we could capture him in the act," Emma's brow furrowed, contemplating the implications of their plan. "But what about the fallout, if this goes public?" Mia waved her hand dismissively, though a pang of anxiety crept into her chest. "It'll be worth it, Emma. We have to be prepared for whatever comes next." As they fine-tuned their strategies and outlined the timeline of Daniel's misdemeanors, the stakes of their mission became increasingly palpable. The thrill of potential justice was exhilarating, yet the shadow of consequences danced at the edges of their plans. Just as they began to feel a sense of camaraderie take root, Mia's phone buzzed next to her. She glanced at the screen, her heart dropping as she read the message. "You need to be careful. Someone's watching. Don't get in too deep." Mia's breath caught in her throat. "What does this mean for us?" she murmured, dread washing over her. Emma's confidence wavered, a tightness stealing into her voice. "Mia, this sounds riskier than I thought. Are you sure you want to go through with it?" Will Mia's thirst for revenge simmer or ignite into a blaze? The path ahead twisted with uncertainty, but one thing was clear: their journey had only just begun. Little did they know the costs of their quest for justice would soon escalate. In the heart of enemy territory, Mia prepares for a confrontation that could change everything. The gala buzzed with laughter and clinking glasses, a symphony of opulence that felt miles away from her reality as a waitress. Yet here she was, dressed in a sleek black gown that clung to her curves, the fabric a disguise for the tempest raging within her. She fought back the urge to fidget with her hair, a nervous habit she thought she'd outgrown. With each step she took into the crowd, adrenaline coursed through her veins, mingling hazily with a deep-seated fear of inadequacy. How could she, an ordinary woman, stand among these glittering elites? But as she scanned the room, she reminded herself that she possessed a power not confined to wealth. A plan was in place. She just needed to execute it flawlessly. Her eyes found Daniel across the room, charming a group of influential businessmen. A knot tightened in her stomach. He seemed so effortlessly at ease, so confident. Yet she was determined to expose the cracks in his polished facade. Drawing a steadying breath, she maneuvered deeper into the throng of guests. "Why am I doing this?" she whispered internally. The truth felt muddled, caught between revenge and the echo of their past. She had loved him once, deeply. Yet the betrayal had torn that love apart, leaving only shards of memories mixed with resentment. As the night progressed, Mia strategically placed herself near the edge of small clusters where important discussions occurred. She leaned in, feigning interest in animated conversations around her, while her ears were attuned to the words that might unravel Daniel's world. The tension thickened in her chest as she overheard snatches of dialogue. Words like investment and returns floated through the air, and she captured them like delicate petals falling from a rose. Every whisper gathered like stones in her pocket, each one feeding into her resolve, turning her vulnerability into a ferocity that she had never known. She felt a thrilling sense of empowerment. She was a player at this gala, not just an onlooker. Then the evening reached its zenith. With the room's attention diverted, Mia approached Daniel with an air of casual confidence. Their eyes locked, and for a moment she felt a flicker of old familiarity. "Daniel," she began, her tone light, "I see the gala is kind to you." "Quite the honor, isn't it?" His smile faltered, just for a heartbeat, but it was enough. "Mia, I didn't expect to see you here. You look stunning." "Thank you," she replied, a smile hinting at the corners of her mouth. "I thought it was time to show my support." She lingered closer, lowering her voice conspiratorially. "I've been hearing some interesting things about your recent projects." A subtle tension rippled between them, but Mia maintained her poised demeanor, carefully planting seeds of doubt in his mind. Daniel's brows knitted together uneasily, his confidence cracking under the weight of her insinuations. She reveled in the moment, blurring the lines of celebration with her own hidden agenda. Yet, as she turned to leave, a critical piece of information slipped through the air, seeping into her ears and sending shivers down her spine. Exiting the gala, she caught snatches of conversation between Daniel and one of his associates, voices low but charged with urgency. "The deal could fall through. We can't let anyone—" Mia paused, her heart racing. The mention of dubious dealings linked him directly to corporate malpractice. The revelation struck like a lightning bolt, igniting her resolve further. What would happen when old flames of affection met the fire of revenge? The question loomed in her mind, but with the truth hovering just within reach, The stakes had never been higher. The layers of complexity in her quest deepened, leaving her wondering, could revenge truly fill the void left by betrayal? The night was not over, and neither was her game. With evidence in hand, Mia's transformation from victim to avenger solidified. The incriminating information weighed heavily in her pocket, yet there was a fierce exhilaration coursing through her veins, mingling with a tinge of fear. This was a pivotal moment, one she had dreamed of when the betrayal first tore through her life. But as she looked into the mirror, she barely recognized the woman staring back at her, the one who would openly challenge a millionaire. Emma stepped into the room, her expression one of unwavering support. The bond they shared had deepened through sleepless nights, fueled by their shared ambition. She leaned against the wall, arms crossed, a determined sparkle in her eye. "We've come too far to turn back now, Mia. This is our chance to bring Daniel down." Mia nodded, feeling the warmth of camaraderie envelop her. "It's not just about revenge, though. We need to expose him for what he truly is," she replied, aware that their united front represented more than personal vindication. It was about rebalancing the scales against deceitful power dynamics that had benefited the elite for far too long. Together, they strategized, their voices weaving through the tangled strands of their plan. "What if we release the information at the gala next week?" Emma suggested, her tone steady and serious. "Daniel wouldn't dare miss it. It's his biggest event of the year. We'll put him on the spot." Mia's heart raced at the thought. Excitement mingled with dread as she considered the implications. "Are we ready for the backlash, though? This could spiral out of control." Emma placed a hand on her shoulder. "We have to believe that what we're doing is right. The truth deserves to be heard, no matter the fallout. People need to know who he is." The night of the gala approached quickly, the anticipation simmering beneath the surface like an approaching storm. As Mia stood on the brink of action, she wrestled with the emotional weight of her choices. Would revealing Daniel's true nature truly fill the void left by his betrayal? Or would it only serve to harden her heart further? And what if revenge changes us more than we anticipate? She wondered aloud, her voice barely above a whisper. Just as Emma was about to respond, a shadow flickered across her face. "Mia, there's something you need to know," she started, her voice faltering for the first time. The weight of her confession hung in the air, thick with tension. "There's a detail about Daniel. Something that might endanger our plan." Mia's chest tightened. The stakes surged higher, escalating the tension brewing between them. "What is it?" she demanded, her mind racing with possibilities. As Emma divulged the sensitive detail, Mia felt her heart sink. Doubt crept in like a thief in the night. All that they had worked for could come crashing down in an instant, but what unforeseen consequences lurked on the horizon? The answer remained just out of reach, teasing her as the moment of truth drew inexorably closer. The night of confrontation arrived, an electric anticipation crackling through the upscale event like a live wire. Mia stood at the entrance, her heart racing in tandem with the steady thrum of the music inside. She took a deep breath, steeling herself against the nerves swirling in her stomach. The luxurious venue sparkled with opulence, filled with the laughter and chatter of those who had never known the depths of betrayal. Yet here she was, about to unveil truths that could shatter the gleaming facade of wealth and power. As she stepped forward through the crowd, every glance felt magnified. Would they see the truth in her eyes or merely a waitress seeking attention? Doubt clawed at her mind. "What if this turns me into the villain?" she mused internally, her resolve faltering. "Am I really ready for this? Will my actions align with my moral compass, or will they twist me into something I fear?" Each question felt heavy, but she couldn't turn back now. The truth burned inside her, demanding to be released. Finally, gathering her courage, she moved toward Daniel, who stood with his back turned, seemingly unfazed by the impending storm. Mia's heart thundered as she approached, clutching her evidence tightly, a tangible reminder of all his deceit. The moment hung in the air, fragile and electric. As she cleared her throat, she felt a fierce determination rise within her. This was about more than revenge. It was about reclaiming her power. "Daniel!" she called, her voice slicing through the noise. Heads turned, eyebrows raised in surprise. He pivoted, his eyes narrowing at the sight of her. "Mia," he said, his smile faltering slightly. What a pleasant surprise. "Pleasant," she echoed, her voice steadying. "Not for long." With that, she unsealed the folder, revealing the carefully arranged evidence. "You've spun a web of lies, and it's time the truth was set free." As she laid out the details, the crowd's buzz shifted into stunned silence, mingling shock with intrigue. Each revelation struck like a bolt of lightning, illuminating the hidden corners of Daniel's world. Gasps rippled through the onlookers, disbelief etching their faces as they processed the unraveling facade of the charming millionaire. Daniel's composure cracked, his calculated charm slipping into defensive disbelief. "Mia, this isn't—" he started, but she cut him off. "This is who you are, Daniel," she said, folding her arms defiantly, a master of deception cloaked in privilege. But not anymore. The power dynamic shifted palpably, and for the first time, she sensed a burgeoning strength within herself, the ability to stand up and be heard. But just as Mia felt the thrill of victory rising, a familiar figure pushed through the crowd. One of Daniel's allies stepped forward, a smirk playing on their lips. "I wouldn't believe everything you see here," they said, casting doubt on Mia's evidence. "Mia's just a wronged woman, consumed by jealousy." A wave of uncertainty crashed over Mia. Just when she thought she had the upper hand, unexpected challenges began to unfold, and the whispers of the crowd surged around her like a turbulent tide. Her heart plummeted. Would her message be drowned out? Her credibility destroyed? Panic flickered in her chest. But as she looked around, she caught the eye of a few sympathetic faces. People who had seen her struggle, who believed in her fight. The energy in the room shifted again, teetering on the edge of chaos. In that moment, she knew one thing for certain. What she revealed tonight could shake the foundations of her world and beyond. But would she have the strength to navigate through the fallouts of her choices? Or would she lose herself in the quest for vengeance? Questions swirled in her mind, but she pressed on, ready to face the storm that was about to break. As the storm of scandal brewed, chaos erupted in the lavish venue where the air had just moments ago been filled with laughter and clinking glasses. Mia stood at the center, her heart racing, as gasps and murmurs surged around her like tidal waves. She felt a mixture of empowerment and dread. Every eye was now turned on Daniel, whose confident facade began to crack under the scrutiny. "How could you do this?" someone whispered, not quite loud enough to be heard over the thrumming tension. Daniel shifted uncomfortably but tried to hold his ground, his eyes darting nervously. "You're all being misled. This is nothing but a desperate act of a woman scorned," he proclaimed, his voice steadied by indignation. But even in his rebuttal, the cracks in his confidence widened. Mia could see the disbelief wash over the faces of the onlookers, mixing with a hesitant curiosity that transformed into mounting distrust towards Daniel. Each accusation, each revelation she had prepared, felt heavier now, as if she was bearing not only the weight of her actions, but the consequences of their fallout. But within her, a storm was brewing, one of internal conflict. She attempted to steady her quaking resolve, but felt a gnawing sense of guilt that burrowed deep inside her. Was her desire for revenge worth the destruction of his life? A part of her, the part that had once cared for him, cried out against the chaos she had unleashed. "Mia, you're doing the right thing." Emma's voice sliced through the turmoil, finding her amidst the crowd. Her friend's expression was firm, instilling resolve in Mia once more. "You're standing up for yourself. Don't let his lies shake your belief." Mia took a deep breath, drawing strength from Emma's steadfast presence. "Right and wrong. It's all so blurred now," she murmured, her brow furrowing as the realization dawned upon her. In her revenge, the lines between right and wrong blurred more than she had anticipated, enveloping her in a haze of moral uncertainty as murmurs of scandal ricocheted off the walls. Daniel launched a counterattack, his anger flaring. "She's just jealous!" he snapped, the desperation in his tone only illustrating his panic. "This is nothing but a pathetic attempt to ruin my name because I moved on." For a fleeting moment, Mia's resolve faltered. Doubt crept in, threatening to unravel the determination she had built. Did they believe him? Was her quest for justice turning her into the villain? "Mia, listen," Emma insisted, reaching for her hand. "Fight back with the truth. You can't let him twist this. You know who you are." Resting her hand upon Emma's, she felt the warmth seep into her cold uncertainty. This was the ally she needed. Mia straightened her shoulders, reminding herself what was at stake: her dignity, her truth. The power struggle reached a boiling point as whispers erupted into fervent discussions of legal ramifications. Mia's evidence of Daniel's misdemeanors could lead to serious accusations, heavy enough to dismantle the empire he had built on deceit. Yes, it's happening, Mia thought, satisfaction flickering within her. But just as that satisfaction began to blossom, a chilling thought wrapped around her heart. Could her actions lead not just to his downfall, but to her own? Just as it seemed Daniel may finally face repercussions, someone stepped forward from the crowd, silencing the murmurs. The figure was familiar yet unexpected, a stark reminder that alliances were often unpredictable in the game of power. Their presence threatened to reshape the narrative yet again, leaving Mia wondering if everything she fought for was hanging by a thread. As she stared into the face of her unpredictable ally, the dread began to bubble within her. The truth had its way of twisting intentions, and now Mia braced herself for the fierce winds of change that could sweep them all away. As the storm of scandal brewed, Mia found herself standing at the precipice of redemption or ruin. The headlines flared, and Daniel's world began to crumble around him. Legal ramifications loomed like dark clouds on the horizon, but it was the whispers, the gossip circulating through the elite circles he once commanded, that gnawed at her. She sat alone in her small apartment, illuminated by the flickering light of a single lamp, and reflected on the exquisite tension between admiration and disdain that coalesced in her mind. What had she done? Mia pressed her palms to her temples, the thoughts clashing violently. Revenge had offered her a taste of power, a fleeting sense of control in a life that felt otherwise dictated by the whims of others. Yet she couldn't escape the mounting weight of guilt. Was she becoming what she despised? The very shadows of Daniel's influence loomed large in her consciousness, and doubts began to seep in like cracks in a facade. Suddenly, a light knock shattered her reverie. It was Emma. "Mia, can we talk?" Emma's voice carried a tremor, tinged with urgency. "Of course," she replied, gesturing for her to enter. Emma's presence had become a lifeline, offering both emotional support and strategic insight that Mia desperately needed. As they settled on the small couch, Emma leaned forward, her eyes scanning Mia's face. "I know things are getting intense. Have you thought more about our next steps?" Mia took a deep breath, wrestling with the ambivalence stirring inside her. What if all this revenge is really just going to turn me into him? Emma shook her head vehemently. No, you're not him. You have a chance to expose the truth. This isn't just about revenge. It's about justice. Mia watched Emma, her confidence lighting a spark within her. But justice for whom? What if it just keeps spreading the pain? Because it's not just about Daniel anymore. It's those people suffering under his shadow too, Emma replied. Every scandal leaves ripples. You can help shift the tide. Mia felt her heart race as she considered the broader implications. The downfall of a millionaire like Daniel would not just reverberate through his life. It would strike at the roots of power that many had taken for granted. There was a reckoning waiting to happen, and somewhere in her resolve, she sensed that she might just have a role in it. As they plotted their next moves, a wave of strength washed over Mia. She wanted to face the world head-on, to reclaim what had been taken from her and others like her. Yet, just as hope began to unfurl, her phone buzzed sharply against the table, slicing through the moment like a knife. Mia's heart raced as she picked it up, her breath catching in her throat. The message was terse and filled her with dread. You think you can ruin him without consequences? I suggest you think twice. Fear flickered in her chest, and she exchanged a panicked glance with Emma. What does this mean? Mia whispered, her voice barely above a hushed breath. Emma put a reassuring hand on hers, though her eyes betrayed concern. It means we need to be careful. This isn't just a game anymore. Daniel has powerful friends. Mia felt the walls close in around her, the echoes of her revenge now resonating with darker implications. The stakes had risen sharply, and the path ahead promised danger. She had ignited a fire, but now it threatened to consume her. How will I navigate the treacherous waters of public opinion? She thought, as apprehension gripped her. But with Emma by her side, she felt a flicker of defiance stirring within. The reckoning had only just begun, and she was ready to face whatever came next, even as the specter of Daniel haunted her every move. The applause from the crowd still echoed in Mia's ears as she stood on the edge of a new beginning, her mind racing with reflection. What would you have done in my position? She wanted to ask the world. Would they seek revenge like she had? Or would they choose a different path? It struck her that everyone, in their own way, navigates betrayals that shape their lives. This connection could foster a conversation as curious minds pondered the ethics of retaliation versus forgiveness. Thoughts swirled within her as she recalled the chaotic journey she had undertaken. As my story shows, she mused, folding her arms across her chest, healing often comes with difficult choices and unexpected alliances. It was easy for others to overlook the emotional toll, but the nuances of her path revealed lessons that lay beneath the surface. The importance of resilience, the necessity of standing up for oneself, and the profound connections formed in the darkest of times. Mia's heart swelled at the realization that the true measure of justice wasn't solely in exposing the wrongs, but in amplifying her voice. Finding your strength against adversity is the real victory, she whispered to herself, feeling a surge of empowerment. It was an insight worth sharing. Remember, real justice may not just be about exposure, it's also about finding your voice and standing strong. Lifting her gaze to the camera, she smiled, a contagious blend of vulnerability and strength. If you felt inspired by my courage, hit that thumbs up to show your support and help others find this empowering journey, she encouraged warmly. She envisioned a community rallying behind her story, drawing strength from one another as they faced their own trials. Her heart leapt at the thought of building that community. Join us for more stories of resilience and transformation. Your voice matters in this journey, she invited, the words feeling authentic and resonant. There was comfort to be found in the shared experiences of others, and she hoped to explore more together, side by side. As she prepared to conclude her thoughts, she couldn't resist leaving them with tantalizing intrigue. But what unforeseen challenges await me now that I've sparked change? She posed, the question hanging in the air, a cliffhanger that tempted the viewer's curiosity and imagination. Thanks for watching, Mia spoke with sincerity, her heart open. Remember, every story has the power to inspire change. Until next time, take care and keep reflecting. With that warm farewell, she hoped to leave a lasting imprint on her audience's hearts, a spark urging them toward their journeys of transformation.